Hey, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to talk about a build in this solo GM. This is what I think is going to be the next one up on the channel. This is the Blind Hunter, or Blunter is the name that the name I'm workshopping at the minute. Although this is a really cool build, and it's also a pretty strong build. Now, I'll be fully honest with you, and I'll talk about it later, but soloing this GM has been such a pain. No fault of the build, there's just stuff in this GM that is annoying. I'll talk about it afterwards. I don't want to start this whole thing off by just being a bit of a downer, but there's stuff that I don't like. The build itself. This thing has been hit with quite a few buffs, specifically on Arc, and it now feels really good. The main change that we've got, at least in the subclass, is to Disorienting Blow and Ascension. Disorienting Blow got changed so that when you punch something, it now also blinds, well, it deals damage in an AoE, and then also blinds where it deals damage. So that whole AoE area is going to blind anything that gets hit by it. This has become so consistent for just kind of running into a group of enemies. You just punch one of them, and then cleaning up the rest of them is so easy. I really do mean that. I think this melee has become so consistent, and also for the fact that it immediately just primes you with Amplified. When you punch something, you get Amplified from it, which means now things are less accurate if they didn't get hit with the blind, and it's also a 15% damage resist as well, which is really nice. So it's got that going for it, but then also the other big change that we've received on Ascension is that this now also refunds your melee, which means that you can go in, punch, Ascension, and then re-punch anything that hasn't been hit by blind originally. It's such a cool loop. And we've also got Flow State as our second aspect, where we get a load of class ability regen. So whenever you punch something, or with Ascension get amplified, you have, I don't know, maybe 7-8 seconds before your next dodge is up. Maybe a little more. But basically, by the time that Amplified has ended, you always will have another dodge charge ready. And there's also Focusing Strike on the arms. I believe I run, well, I want to say 1 copy. So whenever we punch something as well, we get class ability energy, which just makes that come back even quicker. It's nice, it helps with the combo loops a little bit. Yeah, this thing is so fast feeling. Amplified really is kind of like the subclass verb that just makes stuff go fast, and in this build it's so good. Yeah, another thing that got changed with Ascension is it now also has 3 fragment slots on Arc. I kind of think that they should give Lethal Current the same treatment because it feels like it needs it. It's just Ascension with what it offers, like refunding a whole melee and then also the Jolt and Amplified. I kind of struggle to justify using that over this. I say that because I originally started using Lethal Current and then found out pretty quickly that Ascension was just the way to go. It made the build feel much better, and I wouldn't switch it now. At least that's my recommendation. I'm not going to stop you from trying anything. That's kind of the whole point of this channel, is to try weird stuff. But yeah, I always found that Ascension, whenever I was using it here, was just, it was better. It was always much better. And yeah, here, Super's Arc Staff. We're using, not Raiju's Harness, that's Gathering Storm. Raiden Flux, the one where you get hits with your super, hits with your Arc Staff, sorry, and then it extends the duration and deals more damage. And it's a lot more damage. Once you're at 3 stacks, that light heavy, the kind of palm strike combo, it just absolutely knocks down champs. It's such a fun combo to use already. And with this, it's just like boom, 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 and the thing's just dead. It's really cool. But yeah, one thing with this build, I was kind of getting confused between Raiju's Harness there because it's something I want to bring up. This is such a flexible build. So much of what happens inside of this setup is happening inside of the subclass. So the exotics that you want to use in this build, can be so flexible. Again, Raiju's harness, it got changed kind of recently. I guess as far as the lifespan of Destiny goes, kind of recently. But when you get arc debuff enemy kills, you get, I think, I want to say 1% bonus super energy on red bar kills, 2.5 for yellow bars, and then for mini bosses and above, I want to say 4. Don't quote me on that. If you want to double check it, go have a look at Compendium, but I think those might be right. Anyway, obviously, this is a blind build. It's an arc debuff that we're able to spread so consistently. And then also Jolt from Ascension is also an arc debuff. So yeah, if you want to use that version of the build, I would highly recommend it. It's just in this GM, there are some absolute health sponges where having Raiden Flux made such a difference, as in took this from being a 30-something minute run down to a 26. Oh, one thing as well that I haven't mentioned, I'm calling this in the title a solo flawless. I didn't technically solo flawless this because I kill the boss and then the game just decides that that doesn't count as finishing, and then just, yeah, I was there. I like hit the emote and I was like, you know what, hit a little emote at the end, wait for the finish thing to come up. And then I waited. And then I start looking around and see that nothing's happening. And I'm like, oh my god, no way. This has taken me like days to get a good, clean, solo flawless run where I just wasn't dying to complete rubbish. And then at one time I get a clear, it bugs on me. I was honestly so irked by it when it happened, but yeah, I guess there's a bit of humour in it. Okay, here. This is exactly a reason why I was using this super, because before I would have to sit there with New Land Beyond and just blink shots away at this Subjugator. Here, it's one single super. It takes like a little bit of time, but that's just kind of what it does. Just shreds through these really high health targets. And then from here, this encounter, or at least this little area, it gets pretty easy, to be honest. You've got a single unstop, and then a couple of the eye things come up, but they're never that much of a stress to deal with. And then also the ogre section after this is not that difficult. One thing with this strike, okay, this is ramp mode activated. One thing with this strike, the banes that you can get in this, and it's not specific just to this strike, but I think it really shows here particularly. There are enemies that I think should not get banes, and that Subjugator that we killed just before is one that genuinely has like a 50-50 chance of getting a bane. I cannot tell you how much I hate that. I was about to say multiple, but that's probably underselling it. I lost so many runs because I would walk into this room and just see that this Subjugator has got Drainbane stuck to his head. So not only now am I having to literally hide behind walls to try and kill him, which wasn't working because, you know, you're there just sat on red bar health. You step out for a second and you get sent straight back because Drainbane is just Drainbane. But yeah, it's an enemy that just feels like it shouldn't have a Bane on it. Banes also increase the health of things that they're on, so made even worse when it's a mini boss and it's already got a really big health pool, and that Bane just scales it up to an amount that isn't fun. Kind of, again, a reason why I was using, I was about to say Raiju's Harness, Raiden Flux, is because when those Banes came up, this was able to just get it down low enough to the point where all I would have to do was shoot it a little bit and then I would be able to finish it. And that was the way I was getting around it. But I don't think it's good design when you specifically have to run just one really high damage super in order to just get past an encounter. Admittedly, I know I'm doing this solo. You're probably going to be running this with 2 other people. If you're doing this as Bungie kind of would expect somebody to do. So yeah, there is that, but I still don't think it's nice. Especially, again, Drainbane is just the worst offender here, but there are other Banes that are just annoying to deal with, like Jolts on this as well, because you know, it just shocks you for a fair bit of damage, and because it's got such a big health pool, it happens a lot. So yeah, Banes on that Subjugator particularly are painful. The other one in this strike as well are Brawler Banes on Grim. I cannot tell you how many times, again, that I would walk into where we were just before, and then also the bridge section past the Shreiker Room, and there would just be Grim that have Brawler Banes, and they would just be floating in the middle of nowhere at a distance that I definitely can't punch them, and I was just like, right, well, I literally can't do anything to kill it, so I guess I'm just gonna get the Shriek hit me and have this thing just kind of flap around me as like a little annoying thing. Yeah, again, it's an enemy that shouldn't have a Bane. Maybe this is something I talk about in the future, not dedicate a whole vid to. I don't think I'd do it on such a kind of niche topic, but a change I would definitely like to see. Because, for example, the Corrupted Strike as well, that's one that comes to mind. As you go down the lift, the enemies that you have to throw the, I guess like energy balls is the best word to describe it. The energy balls at, they get immune shields. Why Bane enemies can be, well, why immune enemies should get Banes is beyond me. Again, they're mini bosses. They take, I think, 2 or 3 hits with the balls in order to break their shields. Enemies like that, they should not have Banes on them. Like, absolutely not. And again, Drain Bane there, where you can kind of get a bit of a pattern here. I don't like Drain Bane. I don't think anyone likes Drain Bane. And if it got removed, I don't think there would be one single person who would complain about it. I don't actually mind Banes, in all honesty. I think they introduce different ways of playing the game, and it also is nice to kind of mix up GMs a little. But yeah, Drain Bane is just one that I don't like. In fact, kind of a bit of a weird analogy for it, but I used to, and still sometimes kind of do, play a game called Hearthstone. Maybe old for some people, I guess, but I still really enjoy playing it. One of the problems that that game had is interactive gameplay. It was stuff like one-turn kills, where maybe that doesn't mean anything to you if you've never played the game before, but idea is that there was just nothing that you could do against the other player, and that is what Banes on immune enemies or these really, really healthy mini-bosses feels like. It just feels uninteractable, and that's what makes them unfun. So yeah, kind of mini rant over, I guess. So that's one thing as well with this strike. You're forced into a really particular playstyle. I wouldn't be running a sniper here if it wasn't for this section here, and also the boss room. It's weird in that you go from not really needing a sniper at all to them having it be basically mandatory. You'll see in the boss room how far back I sit and just plink away with New Land Beyond, which, by the way, was such a hard carry in this gem. For those last sections, I think looking up until this point you would have gone, oh, why is he really using New Land Beyond? But as you get towards the end, you realise why it's so good. But it's kind of weird having a GM where you've got such different variations in things that you have to do. Like here, or at least before, it's very much kind of like you're right up in the mix of things, and then as you get towards the end, it's complete opposite in that it's extremely passive play. Kind of weird. I don't mind using a sniper, but if you're somebody who doesn't really like the sit-back playstyle, then maybe this isn't so much your GM. To be honest, I don't find this GM massively fun. I'm not going to rush back to do this GM, and it's really because of the boss room. It's just kind of like a game of cat and mouse. You get one shot, you then move behind a different pole, you get another shot in, move behind a different pole. Do that until you get them to half health. So yeah, one thing as well with the boss room. If you are using a build that relies on killing ads, good luck. I really, or not even just killing ads, just being around ads, for example, is something that is just so difficult to do in that boss room, because you have got nothing to work with. If you're a big Immo Synthos Consecration fan, or Immo Synthos Lightning Surge fan, best of luck, because it's not happening in this GM in that boss room. Not at all. You get a wave of... Okay, I guess there are two different phases. The phase before he gets into his taken phase is fine. That bit I actually quite enjoy. But it's when he gets taken and starts then using the Hive Boomer gun. I think that's the name of it, the Hive Boomer. Why have they even called it a boomer? I don't know. It starts using the boomer. Sorry, it's a funny word, boomer. Anyway. Yeah, when he starts using the... I'm going to say it again. When he starts using the boomer, that's when this just becomes unfun for me. And yeah, mainly because you don't have any ads to work off of. Again, if you're using a build that relies on them, you just can't really, or at least you don't use it effectively. You get... Sorry, I was talking about how many ad spawns you get. Once the dude spawns in, you get an unstop and a wave of ads. And I think at around a 3/4 health, you get 6 through. Half health, you get an unstop and then some of the husks spawning in as well. And that's it. That's literally it. So good luck trying to use those builds again, but that's really why I found stocks in using New Land Beyond, because as much as I don't like the sit back play style, you haven't got a choice here. You can't really just play massively aggressively, because this boss also hits really, really hard. If you plan on just going in and not using a build that's got some sort of damage resist, I mean, we've got lots of Amplified here. You'll see me use Ascension quite often as for the DR, but then also because it's less accurate shooting. But if you're going in and you're using a build that, say, relies on something like crowd control, like a suspend build, for example, yeah, really, it's just not going to work, because this last boss, obviously it's a boss that can't get suspended, but he hits hard and he's also stupidly accurate. The amount of times this guy sniped me out of the air, even when I was amplified, yeah, he's a bit of a sharpshooter, to be honest, so be careful for that. But yeah, that's kind of the things I'm not so much a fan of. Yeah, to be honest, if you're even watching to this point, you see what I mean, and if you've run this yourself, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You just have to play really passively. That's not the way that I like playing this game. I like aggressive playstyles much more, which this build can do, by the way. That's the whole point of it, with all the blinders that you can get in and play aggressive, and you kind of have to with Disorienting Blow in order to be effective. But yeah. Oh wait, I haven't even talked about fragments yet. Okay, whoops. We have got Spark of Beacon. Yeah, oh my god. I should have mentioned that before. Part of the reason why we're building big into Ascension is that we've got Spark of Beacons, where any Arc Special or Arc Heavy weapon final blows are going to blind any enemies that are standing around that killed enemy. Such a good fragment. And also just crazy that it's a fragment, but I'm glad it is, because it means every class gets access to this. But one of the reasons why Sealed Ahamkara Grasps is an exotic I recommend in this build is for that exact reason. In the Spark of Beacons becomes so efficient when you have got the damage buff that you get from Sealed Ahamkara Grasps. They changed it to be, I think it's the highest weapon in Powering Tier of 35%, and that's on par with your Luminers, your shooting through the Sentinel shield. It's like the highest possible damage that you can get, but when every weapon final blow, again, like 35% damage boost, it's a lot, is then blinding anything around it, it becomes so consistent. That build relies much more on blind, but gets to trigger blind from beacons so much more often. But again, even if you're not using sealed up and choreographs, absolutely something you should be running. It helps out so much, especially if you want to get a kill from a distance and then go in and get that kind of much bigger, much more consistent blind from disorienting. The other one's Spark of Resistance. It's a 25% damage resist when you're surrounded, which is really nice. Again, you can move up on blinded enemies really easily, so it's a nice thing to have. Then you have also got Spark of Ions, where killing an enemy with Bolt Charge, or I want to say a jolted enemy, spawns in an Ionic Trace. And then there's also the one where... the one where you get arc weapon kills and it progresses a counter for Ionic Traces. Can't remember the name of it. You have to check at the end. Although, one thing, future editing me is going to have to kind of put that in as a separate bit, because, yeah, I don't end up looking at my subclass because I get confused as to why I kill the boss, and then he just kind of is like, no, we're not finished. Actually, it never finishes. Yeah, I digress. Yeah, sorry, you will have to look at the end. my brain is frazzled. It was like, got back from work and I was like, I'm soloing this gem, I'm doing it. Had enough of this. Okay, so yeah, here you go. This is the first unstop. It's 1 or 2 that you get in this boss room. But you'll see that that was, what you just saw is pretty much the extent of the ads that you'll get up until this boss gets to half health. So, yep. That's it. That's the ads you got to work with. And now it's just sitting back, and it's about 5 minutes of spinning in Ascension to get amplified, so I get the damage resist and he's less accurate, and just plinking away with New Land Beyond. This is literally the reason why I'm using this gun for this boss fight and the Shreikers, but mainly so I can just do this. What you're seeing right now is the reason why I dislike this strike. It's just kind of boring, you know? Again, cat and mouse, you just have to play around these spikes. That's the thing. There's almost no cover in this boss room to play around. The boss has got an AoE gun, so it's really difficult to dodge. He's also got an attack the fire stuff, which is specifically there to get you out of cover, which there's pretty much none of. And sometimes he just fully breaks all the rules of standing back, and he just walks up on you, and he'll just come and just shoot you. It's just a boss encounter that I really dislike playing. And yeah, okay, you can see 6 thrall. That's all you get. So if you were playing an Inmost Synthos Consecration build, there you go. That's the perfect time to get it procced for about 5 seconds, and then it's gone. Yeah, it's just annoying. Again, New Land Beyond has got an absolutely massive ammo reserves and really high... what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of high total damage. That's it. It's got really high total damage for its reserves as well, which is what makes it nice, because if you haven't got lots of ads, that means you haven't got loads of ammo bricks, which means, yeah, you're going to need something that you can just sit back with and do exactly what you're seeing, which is that really fun gameplay of just sitting back with a sniper and jumping around and spinning with Ascension. Yeah, I mean, luckily getting Ascension here is really easy because we've got flow state here. So yeah, I think I said maybe like 7-8 seconds, maybe more like 10. I'm pretty sure I just saw 10. But yeah, kind of, here we go. This is the rest of the boss fight, just kind of standing back. And yeah. That's it. I might as well stop talking about this strike, to be honest, because what you see right now is what it's going to be for the rest of the run. I'm going to talk about stuff that's coming up on the channel. I am going to do a Hunter build, Titan build, Warlock build, and then I think I'm going to do commentary. I'm really kind of mulling over whether I want to do the prismatic... I've been talking about this for so long, and... every time I say I'm going to do it, I end up sticking it on the back burner, because it's one of those things where I kind of want to wait and see. Like, for example, in... Oh, what's the new expansion called? It's coming to me. My brain's being slow. Edge of Fate. Edge of Fate. In Edge of Fate, we're getting changes to the amount of fragments that Prismatic gives, but they've said that changes bigger than just that are coming. So I kind of don't want to make a video talking about the state of Prismatic for it to then get changed and that video not really hold all that much relevance. So I want to make it, but at the same time I've got a video that I really want to make, which is wording that gets used in Destiny. The more that I make builds and really test with them, the more that I realize that stuff like the in-game descriptions of this is just wonky in bad ways, in that some of these things absolutely don't do what they say on the tin. You look at an exotic and it says something like reload, and what it really means is refill. Kind of side tangent, why there is even a difference in the first place between reload and refill is beyond me. It's literally putting up another word that isn't reload when it just completely wasn't needed. Anyway, a wording video is one that I absolutely want to do. That's one that really affects builds quite a lot, so it's one that I'm wanting to do more. Yeah, here you go, you can see, hit the emote, I was waiting for the finish to come up, all my fresh loot to come in, and then this is where I'm like, oh, have I done something wrong? Yeah. Just having a look around. I'm thinking maybe I haven't done something right, but I've looked back at it. Once you kill this boss, that should be the strike over. So yeah, there we go. I never actually technically soloed it because of a special Bungie clause that they gave me. That it doesn't count. Anyway, I'm going to save you watching me just DJ here, and I'm going to rely on post-editing me to actually show off the build. But for now, that's about it. See ya.